My internet's down, my eyes are swollen, I'm in the mood for a bitch, let's do a review. Hello everybody, my name is Nick Starwin and welcome to Nick's Random Reviews. It's kind of an old show revamped for the new generation. Kind of like what we're talking about today, and oh boy, I've been waiting to talk about this. DragonBall Super has been causing quite a stir amongst the anime community lately, and with the end of the Black Goku, or Goku Black, or Super Saiyan Squeezy 6000 Goku Black Who Gives saga, it has caused quite a divide and much debate, and almost placing the series on its last legs. Now, if you haven't watched the entire saga, or heck, the entire Dragon Ball Super series for that matter, I always suggest treading carefully in this video because it'll be full of spoilers. Unless, of course, you're not really bothered about filler and rehash story arcs, then by all means, keep watching the video. To summarise the creation of Dragon Ball Super, after two successful films, Battle of Gods and Resurrection of F, Toei Animation got money bags in its eyes and decided to announce a brand new series called Dragon Ball Super, with legendary creator Akira Toriyama at the helm. Of course, everyone was excited about it. There were people talking about the internet, there was tons of leaked rumours about what the storylines were going to be, and it was just all around an amazing time to be a Dragon Ball Z fan. And then the trouble began. And I'm not even going to talk about the animation style. I've come to the conclusion that Toei Animation has always had the streak of good days and bad days of animation, and they always seem to run in a weird order, where you go from great detail to okay detail to oh my god, it's a cardboard cutout, run for your lives. And this doesn't even apply to Dragon Ball. A lot of their other stuff do this as well. So far we've only had two sagas in this series. I'm not even going to class the Beerus and Frieza ones as sagas, because they're just pathetic attempts at rehashing a story just to shoehorn it into the series for it to make some sort of sense, when of course you could have just continued them after the films. Would have been so much better. But wait, I hear you cry, "Oh Nick, but what about the possession of the gods in the universe and filling in the gaps of the films?" You mean pointless filler that didn't even do anything to the storyline, didn't even answer all the questions, and was just pointless and left so many plot holes for the Dragon Ball timeline? Filler is of course the first issue with the series. When you're waiting a full week to watch a 30-minute episode, you want to look forward to the episode, not just wait for it to come out, watch it, shrug your shoulders because nothing happened, and then go back to binge watching The Crown and pretend you enjoyed it. This further led to a problem I saw later when people were just picking out 2 to 5 minute segments of an episode and comparing those 2 to 5 minutes to this 2 to 5 minutes of the last episode and seeing which was better and using that as a viable excuse to say it was a good episode. Now yes, you can argue the filler point with Dragon Ball Z, but remember when that first aired on Toonami and CNX, it was a whole different scenario, because excluding weekends, we got an episode every day of a saga. So all we had to do was wait 24 hours for the next episode, which made us understand about pacing and barely even notice the filler, because to us it was kind of like a soap opera, except with more fighting and okay yeah, just exactly like a soap opera. But when you are waiting weeks on end for the payoff, it becomes so agonizing and you notice more problems in the long run. When we were waiting for sagas to be dubbed back in the day, it created that brilliant joy of looking forward to that new episode, especially when the internet was in its infancy and you couldn't find anything on it and had to wait, occasionally teased by the odd image of a new character when you did a Yahoo search. Yeah, I said Yahoo search, it was the latest thing back then. What are you gonna do about it, eh? This is the problem with the Beerus and Frieza sagas, because we already know what happens and we've already seen it in better quality to boot, so we're waiting months and months for the new sagas to actually begin. Now, I would understand this if they were using that to take more time with fleshing out character designs and development and stories and actually doing the episode ahead of time, but now that we know Toei Animation's animation schedule, it makes Trey Parker and Matt Stone's schedule look like nothing! Now if you want to get into Dragon Ball Super, I highly recommend you watch the first 2 movies and then start at the Universe Tournament saga, because that is when the series actually begins, because it's using an old idea from Dragon Ball, paying homage to it with brand new characters from different universes, and testing Goku and Vegeta's new abilities against new foes, at the same time bringing in old characters into the spotlight, such as Piccolo. And I don't mean babysitting Piccolo, I mean badass Piccolo. But then there's the elephant in the room, the Goku Black saga, and at this point you begin to see the structure of Dragon Ball Super crumble away. I literally have no idea what happened with this. It was all over the place and it was an amazing concept, but it ended up being a combination of castrating yourself with a rusty spoon and fan service. To summarise this mess of a storyline that makes Supreme Kai of time in line for a sacking, future Trunks from the Android saga, although now with an adult Mai, despite the fact she never met Kid Trunks in this timeline because that was in Goku's timeline during Battle of Gods. Nah, it hurts already! Okay, let's try this one again, shall we? Okay. So, the ABCs of the Goku Black saga. A. Android Saga Trunks goes back in time again after facing an evil Goku and a Supreme Kai god Zamasu. B. Best buddies Goku and Vegeta go to the future with Trunks to beat him. And C. Crap ton of time travelling, complicated layout of a story, and crap payoff ensue. I don't even know where to begin with this storyline. It had a perfect concept, a brilliant villain idea, and it almost paid homage to the Tree of Might's Turles, but what's my best comparison? The first problem with this saga is messing with future Trunks' timeline, making it more like a future Kid Trunks from Goku's timeline, especially with putting in Mai as the love interest. I did like how they touched upon the Majin Buu arc briefly, but it didn't really show much an advancement of him as a character and growing in strength, because he still has that Super Saiyan bulky form, and it just wasn't necessary. But aside from that, there isn't really any problems with Trunks, so that's all I can say about him. The real problem begins when you have the fight and the bits in between the fight. My best comparison to this is the Peter Capaldi Doctor Who, or just any Doctor Who episode that was done from Matt Smith onwards because Stephen Moffat is a writer. Despite years and years of character development, battles and progression in story, it throws it out the window in a single instance just to look interesting or to stretch out the story for a few moments, which annoys everyone, especially going back to my first point about one episode a week. And then we get onto Goku Black, by far the most complicated villain I have ever heard in my life. Let's do a brief summary, if I can do a brief summary, on why he is such a Goku Black is actually a Supreme Kai called Zamasu who basically, before he became a Supreme Kai, he gets the idea to kill his mentor and steal the Super Dragon Balls while watching the Universe Tournament. So he swaps bodies with Goku using the Dragon Balls and then kills Goku in Zumasu's body, and then he gets the aid of another Zamasu from a different timeline / dimension and uses the Super Dragon Balls to make him immortal, and then uses those Dragon Balls to destroy all the other Dragon Balls so no one can make any further wishes. And then he goes to the timeline of Trunks in the future using a time ring / dimension ring, which also prevents the past from being changed if they went back in time to kill him, even though you couldn't do that anyway because you just create an alternate dimension which Trunks showed during the Cell Saga, but unless you're a god like Beerus, you can actually change the future because you're more powerful, despite the fact the ring protects you from being destroyed anyway. And when Goku Black turns into a Super Saiyan Blue, he doesn't actually turn into a Super Saiyan Blue because he turns into a Super Saiyan Rose because of the corruption of what happens when you raise the rent too high on your house in Fable 2. If I've missed anything out there, by all means, do not tell me, because it's already complicated enough as it is, and it didn't need to be that complicated, because this is so stupid. This is like explaining to your teacher the reason you didn't do your homework is by going into the plot of Inception. This creates more plot holes than it solves, especially with stupid plot devices, which waste, I think, 2 episodes worth, where Beerus goes, yes, I'm a god, so I can kill anybody in the past and affect the future, but because you're not a god, you can't do anything, it just creates an alternate dimension. So I'll kill Zamasu in the past, and then everything will be fine, and we can all have ice cream and pudding. And he does so, and in the go of the future, and guess what? Zamasu is still standing there with a eating grin and just goes, yes, I have this ring, it prevents me from being wiped out. What a pointless plot device. It wasted so many episodes you could have spent making more interesting things. Other stupid parts of this is using the time machine as an excuse to jump from present to future, continuously to drag out the story and leave so many blanks of stupidity. It is so annoying, and especially annoys me further because Zamasu was so intent on wiping out humanity and starting over, but we then see him drinking tea like a jackass when the last time we saw him he was fighting future Trunks or destroying stuff. At least when Frieza was wanting to destroy the Saiyans, he did his damn well best to destroy them in one go. Yes, he didn't destroy all of them and it was his downfall, but apples and oranges, people, come on. And this is added with the stupid plot devices that waste so much time it's unbelievable. Like a stupid sniper rifle, which is supposed to kill the Super Saiyan God. Really, that was your brilliant filler idea. Or heck, let's crack out the Mafu bar, which on its second attempt didn't even keep King Piccolo sealed. And you're trying to seal an immortal being? Oh, but instead of proving that is stupid, we'll just leave the seal at home so we can escape. Wasting 2 episodes worth, and don't even get me started on the button that Goku is given to call the god of everything when he needs help. God forbid he should use that at any point. And then we got the granddaddy of all bitch slaps in the world, Vegito. Oh my god, we were looking forward to this one, weren't we, folks? I think this was the moment I looked at Dragon Ball GT, a series I've loathed and hated for decades for its stupid continuity errors, stupid characters like Pan, and just headachy moments, and go, how are you better than Dragon Ball Super? How did you manage to beat this series that we've been waiting years for? Because at least with Dragon Ball GT it stuck with some Dragon Ball lore despite the cringe-worthy feels, but I now respect it. What have you done, Toei? You made me respect GT. It's not even supposed to happen. To summarise, Zamasu and Goku Black fused together using Potara earrings to create an ultimate being, and in the process, kick the crap out of everybody because that's what you do in Dragon Ball. As a last-ditch attempt, Goku and Vegeta decide to do the same thing to fight fire with fire. This was a crowning moment. Vegeta was coming back. We were finally gonna get another rehash of the best fusion around. This could stretch out for 2 episodes with some brilliant fighting and quirky dialogue. We were so looking forward to it, especially the fact that now you can separate them using the Dragon Balls, such as what happened with Kibito Kai and Supreme Kai. And then somebody in the writing room opened their stupid mouth and said, what if we make the fusion only an hour long, changing old Dragon Ball lore and putting a giant middle finger in your face? Why take something as awesome as the Potara fusion and downgrade it massively in one sentence? If you wanted time fusion, why didn't they just do the fusion dance? It would have been more sensible and kept some purity to the series. Not to mention making Gogeta canon, which is what many people were hoping for. Or heck, even the freeway fusion creates a completely new character. And even though they said an hour, it only lasted 5 to 10 minutes of the episode. Pretty much wasting the hype completely. You teased the character, you gave us something to look forward to, and you downgraded to nothing more than a cameo role. Just to go, throw him in, gives them something to talk about. That is a total female Ghostbusters move. And to the nannies out there who try and see the good in everything, despite only being 5 minutes worth in a 30-minute episode and comparing that to the last 5 minutes, saying it's automatically the best episode of the saga, go yourself, because that isn't how it works. You build up a story, create tension, edge of your seat gripping moments, not go blah blah, 5 minutes of heaven, blah blah, next preview with those 5 minutes cut up to create even more excitement. It doesn't work like that. This was just bad story writing and development from a company that really shouldn't be messing with a brand like this, especially with its worldwide appeal, because now that you have done this, people are hesitant to see what your next saga is going to be, and just want it to end because you've jumped the shark so prematurely that you've made it suffer afterwards. And I haven't even brought up the ending of the episode because that was the only good part, because it meant we didn't have to put up with the saga anymore. Dragon Ball Super was a brilliant concept and platform that you could have used to your advantage. People were waiting for this to come out for ages, and with so many alternative storylines such as Dragon Ball Online, Dragon Ball Heroes and Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 and 2, you had a plethora of things to choose from. You had 2 successful films to use as a jumping platform for the series, but you took it in completely the wrong direction. To be honest, I wouldn't have minded 2 extra films, one for the Universe Tournament and one for the Goku Black saga, because to be honest, the Goku Black saga is almost a film in itself. You could have just made a 2-hour film of this and fleshed out the story better and made it more continuity friendly, but instead you've created this deformed mutation of a baby that we can't abandon but not sure if we should love it. It was a great concept, but executed poorly, which seems to be the case with many shows nowadays that are being rehashed. And no, it isn't nostalgia blinding me when I say that. A lot of remakes have been successful. For God's sakes, if they can get a remake of The Clangers right, you should be able to get this right. But all I can say is, give it a watch. Watch the first 2 films first though, because at least then you can get an expectation for something that you will never receive from Dragon Ball Super. And as for the next saga, I would like to see something building up to Xenoverse's storyline, or heck, why don't we just make a special out of Jacko the Galactic Patrolman, because his manga is there to be adapted from. But until then, I have been Nick Darwin, thank you for watching, be sure to comment your hatred below, and subscribe to be further insulted in the future. And until then, thank you. But what if they did a saga where they brought back Planet Vegeta because the Super Dragon Balls mustn't have a time limit, and then Goku and Vegeta go with the planet, Vegeta rekindles with his family, and Goku meets his family, rekindles with them, and because they're Super Saiyan gods now, they can be hailed as the perfect rulers, and they teach them to be good. Then, you could introduce the villain, which could be Heck Broly or the Dormant Hatchak, which would be a great way to introduce them into the canon series. So nerdy.